All right, this is my long-awaited and anticipated 200 subs answers video. I'm not as off-the-cuff and quick and smooth as, say, the Amazing Atheist, who just goes on and on and on, rattling off answers without cuts. There'll be cuts. I'm going to take each one, think about it again some more, because I've been thinking about these for some time, and some of them require a lot, so I don't even know if I'll be able to get. I got 14 questions, and I'm hoping to get it within the 10 minutes. So here goes. The first one is from Variablast, and AKA fuck. So I'm hoping that you get your name change official fairly soon. So that will be definitely a step in the right direction for free speech. So I have my fingers crossed for you. And that the marmosets don't get you, because that'll offend them. But your question was two questions. What's next for you on this channel is the first one, and from day to day, I have no idea. My goal is, I suppose, to educate. I want people to think about everything. Something they know is true, I want them to still, every once in a while, stop and think, am I sure it's true? I did that with, excuse me, I did that with my father a couple of years ago, and he was certain that lightning came from the vacuum of air rushing in behind it. And I kind of thought the same thing at the time, too, but I was being a smartass, and I said, are you sure? Have you looked into it? Did you study it? And at that point, I of course had to look into it and study it, because I had just fully put my foot in my mouth. And it turns out no, that the actual sound of thunder is from gas being superheated and expanding. So it was exactly the opposite of what we had thought. So I'm trying to encourage everybody to think of things a little bit differently. My brain does work a little bit differently. So does yours, but mine's not quite so different as yours. I just tend to come at questions from different angles. So that's my goal. I want people to look at things from another angle. But it could be any direction. I don't know, from day to day. Whatever inspires me. And the other one was, what are a few books that shaped your mind growing up? I wrote a list off the top of my head. A Wrinkle in Time was my first book. Dragon Riders of Pern, which was very teen angsty, fantasy, magic, kind of fun. Lord of the Rings, the whole series, was amazing to me. It took me a long time because everybody to read it, because everybody kept saying, "Oh, it's the Bible of fantasy," and I heard Bible and I went, "I don't want to read the Bible." But so never refer to it as the Bible of fantasy. It is the pinnacle of fantasy. The Ringworld series was probably the beginning of my mind expansion into true science. After that, I read all Robert Heinlein stuff. His was almost a blend of fantasy and science fiction, and it was at the time I was really, really young, and it really scratched the itch in my head that I needed to scratch. My favorite now currently is Peter Hamilton. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he wrote the Neutronium Alchemists series. I think there's 6 books in the series, and each book is as fat as the Bible. It's a fantastic series, and he does an amazing job of blending in current scientific theories, what we believe is going to be possible and what is possible, and takes them out to the edge, which I thought was amazing, wonderful. I used to love fantasy, and anymore, especially after reading Peter Hamilton, I can't even read it anymore. It's too sophomoric. it's too new moon-ish, and it makes me want to brush my teeth and get the sweetness out of my mouth. So I can't do fantasy anymore. So there's your answer is very fuck. Sorry, fuck. That's a very hard one to remember for some reason. I'll work on it. The Canadian Atheist didn't actually ask me a question, but he said rum nogs yay and Christmas bah humbug. And the Christian Christmas, I have to agree. Bah humbug. What a waste of time. But for me, I don't know if you've seen my video on the Christmas card, but the true meaning of Christmas, the original meaning of Christmas was exchanging gifts with the shaman, essentially buying your drugs and medicines, and tripping hard with the family. And I'm all for it. The rum nogs is part of that. Not so much mushrooms as with the shaman, but if you haven't tried them, you must try them. It will definitely give you a new understanding of the word spiritual without having to add an invisible man into the mix, because you can see everything. Pope Benedict XVI. It's good to see you. And I'm guessing after the rum nog comment, you're probably not sober either. So good on you. You asked, what other countries have you been to? Sadly, I haven't been to any other countries. I spent my childhood in Maui, which was kind of nice, but came to the conclusion that it's a nice place to visit, but you'd never want to actually live there. Grew up in the Great Northwest, Oregon, Seattle area, the rainforest of the world. You name it, you name a fungus and it's growing there. So it's very, very wet, very, very gray, and extremely beautiful. Probably the most beautiful place I've ever seen. But I live in Florida now because that's where the sun is. That answers that. But oh wait, I did go to Cancun on a cruise, but we were only there for a day. We went to see the ruins and went right from a bus to the ruins and from the bus back to the boat. So I'm still going to have to qualify that as not being in another country. But I plan on living several 100,000 years, so I'll probably get there. And if I come your way, I'll be sure and give you a shout out first, and I would definitely like to spend a couple hours in a pub tossing back some pints with you. Tip of the slung. And some pints with you as well, I'm guessing this would be in order, and I've seen that you've had your fair share recently. I'm not quite sure if you were asking this question for my video, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Does the fact that not all of your subs watch bother you? A little awkward question, but I know what you mean. Does the fact that that the videos that I put up, that not all of the people that sub to me watch them? I guess a little, not too much. I do prefer comments and having... my goal isn't to have a whole bunch of subs and be a sexy Phil or an amazing atheist. I don't need... I can't keep up with that kind of traffic. So I do prefer to have a few people that comment on my channel and actually hear what I'm saying instead of just going down the list. So it sort of bothers me. I watch all of the people I sub to, and I sub to a lot of people. I don't always watch all the way through. I kind of click on it and get the gist. If it's something I'm interested in, I'll watch the whole thing. But if it's something that they're mostly interested in and it doesn't strike my fancy, I still click on it and I'll watch it to make sure that it's not for me, and then I click off. So I do still put in a little effort to watch everybody that I've subbed. But no, I guess when it comes right down to it, it's not that big of a deal to me. I'd rather have people making comments and asking questions and being interactive. I think is a little more important to me. And thank you for the question.